And Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yesterday I mentioned in a floor speech that some of the decisions we make down here are difficult decisions. This is not one of those decisions. This is an easy decision. I'm somebody who believes in helping people who need help. That's why I ran for office. I'm here to help people. That's why each of you ran for office too. And there are people in this state who need help. Many of them. Some of the ones who are most in need of help are the people that are affected by this amendment. They are Marylanders. They are taxpayers. Let me repeat that. They pay their taxes. And yet they have been cut out of almost every federal relief program during the course of the pandemic. While our constituents have been calling us desperately trying to access unemployment insurance benefits, most of these folks aren't even eligible for them. While we've been showing up at food banks to help put boxes of food in people's car, these folks aren't eligible for a lot of the safety net programs that are keeping kids fed, keeping people in their houses. This issue is an issue that is not unique to Maryland. In fact, many states have been trying to figure out a way to support this population of people, who, by the way, you've heard reference to undocumented immigrants. This does not just affect undocumented immigrants. Many of the people that pay their taxes under ITINs are legal residents of the United States. Many of the people who are cut out of the bill without this amendment are U.S. citizens. A child, for example, who is a U.S. citizen but whose parents are undocumented. Should that child not eat? It's an issue that's been recognized by Democrats and Republicans. The state of Vermont fixed this issue in their programs. They have a Democratic legislature and a Republican governor. The state of Alabama did it. Alabama. They have a Republican governor and a supermajority Republican legislature. The fact that many of these people, particularly in mixed status families, were cut out of the CARES Act grants was addressed through legislation introduced by the noted left-wing liberals Marco Rubio and Tom Tillis. So why is it that people of all political walks of life in states from the Deep South to the West Coast have been trying to address this issue? Because these Maryland taxpayers need help. They are our neighbors. They are our friends. They are the people that drive our Ubers. They are the people that serve us at restaurants. They are the people that clean our buildings. They are people. Let me tell you about a couple of them. Let me tell you about Susanna, who is a resident of Towson, who wrote, "I migrated from Guatemala in 1981 when I was 10 years old. Our family survived a civil war in Guatemala. I've been a nanny since 1990. I also have a second job as an outreach specialist for a nonprofit organization. My parents have worked in restaurants, cleaning houses, and in the evening the entire family would go clean office buildings. I'm a single parent of two wonderful young ladies, Tiffany, 19, and Carla, 17. They are born and raised in Maryland. In case you missed that, they are U.S. citizens then. My youngest plans to become an engineer. When the state shut down last March, I was unable to work one of my jobs for over 3 months. My income was reduced over 50%. Although I was blessed to at least have the opportunity to work 15 hours a week, that was not enough to survive. I was able to work for Instacart and Shipt. I would go shop and deliver for others during the time that other people, were afraid to go out. I was afraid because very little was known about the virus. Like many immigrants, I had to overcome my fears because I needed to feed my family. I ask that you consider the fact that many of us don't qualify for unemployment benefits even though we pay unemployment insurance tax. Some of us have not been able to work for months. Many of us work in the restaurant industry and there are few job opportunities in the field. I have witnessed people stand in long lines under the rain, in the cold and extreme weather to get a box of food. I plead that you consider not leaving those that need this assistance the most. Let me tell you about Claudia. Claudia's lived here for 15 years, longer than most of us have served in this legislature. She has 2 children, 10 and 13, who are U.S. citizens. Her husband works as an electrician, but work's been reduced during the pandemic. Since Claudia arrived in this country, she has always paid her taxes using an ITIN. Always paid her taxes. They were hard hit by the COVID infection and received no help at all. No unemployment, no relief checks. They had to beg their landlord to give them more time so they wouldn't get kicked out of their house. Claudia has 2 older daughters that are both essential workers. One works as a nurse's assistant and the other cleans hospitals. I believe Susanna and her children and Claudia and her children deserve help. I believe that, as I said, with every fiber of my being. I'm a Christian. I'm devout. I don't often wear my faith on my sleeve or talk about it that much because my faith is very personal to me. But I want to share with you a passage that I shared with the members of my subcommittee in our meeting last night, which, by the way, due respect, it's hard to describe a meeting as a backroom, dark of night meeting when it's publicly cast over YouTube. But I shared a passage from the book of Matthew, which has always fired my soul as a person of faith. And it's a passage I'm going to read to you now so I don't mess up the words. And the king will say to those at his right hand, "Come, you that are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you cared for me. I was in prison, and you visited me." And the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when was it that you were hungry and we gave you food, that you were thirsty and we gave you drink? When was it that you were a stranger and we welcomed you into our house? Or naked and gave you clothing? When was it that you were sick or in prison and we cared for you?" And the king will answer them, "Truly, I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least among the members of my family, you did it to me." The folks affected by this amendment are members of our human family. They are our brothers and our sisters. They are our neighbors and our friends. They need help. And we, the members of this body, the members of the Senate, the governor of the state of Maryland, have the power to help them. And that is all that matters. I ask you to support the amendment.
Madam Speaker.